Hello, Ectosage here on the Sage channel, and an update came out today that added something I've wanted ever since they added solar panels. Batteries. I'm really happy they added them. They work great. Before we actually go ahead and show them off, we're going to have to go into edit settings of a world, and just to show that they have added a autosave button that you can toggle on and off right there instead of having to go to advanced. But if you do feel like going to advanced, you can see they've rearranged all these buttons at the bottom to give them more room, so that means we'll probably be seeing even more stuff added to this sooner rather than later. And they've also added this function here, the client's saving. Basically, you can turn it on, that way people who join your multiplayer world can save your map, or if you want to keep it to yourself, you can keep that off. Maybe you're working on something you don't exactly want to share with people yet, so people can join it, they can look at it, but they won't be able to save the world, which is pretty cool. Anyway, let's go ahead and load this up and I'll start explaining the new batteries they've added. Alrighty, so here we are in game, and right away you'll notice these strange blocks to your left. Now these are the new batteries. You can find them right here on your UI, a battery, and simply click it down and you can place it as per usual. I'm in creative mode right now, but if you look at the right side of your screen, you will be able to see that when you're building these in survival, you will need to build yourself some power cells at an assembler to properly put those together. But anyway, you can see the ones here have these lights on them. These lights are very similar to the lights you would find up here on, let's say, a solar panel, and they basically indicate power amounts. Now right now they're showing up as all red simply because I actually have these set to off. Now if I was going to go ahead and turn these to turn on, so right here at the top I've turned them on, you can see it turns to a blue showing its current power level. It's currently 2 bars up. This one I believe is only maybe 1 or 2. Let's turn all these on. And the blue actually also indicates that if you look here, there's this little thing that says recharge, and it's clicked. So while it's blue, that actually means the battery is currently recharging, and it'll actually go up as it charges. Now, we could of course go ahead and set these to let power out by clicking that, and then they turn to green, indicating that's the amount of power in them, and then those will simply count down, and then it'll go to black, which means 0 energy in it. So if I was to fly over here and click this one, which has no energy in it, turn it on, you can see it basically goes to, well, 1 red saying, hey, I'm out of energy, or sometimes it'll go to all black. And let's fly over here. Now, another thing to notice, let's actually go ahead and set this one up, continue, actually, let's just shut this one off, shall we? And then we're going to shut off the one in the center as well. So there we go, shut both those off. Now this one here, if I was to look in there, it's currently recharging. Look at the bottom right here, we have all of this information. The output type, or max output I should say, is 4 megawatts, so once it's got enough energy it'll put out 4 megawatts. Max stored power is 1 megawatt per hour, and I believe the max required input is just how much energy you can put into it at once. So even if you have a billion reactors, it's not going to work. And you see down here, stored power, it has the current amount of kilowatts, and 0 output right now, and current input is actually quite low. Now, if you were to look at the very bottom there, it says fully charged in 4 hours. Now that's an awfully long time to wait, but remember, this is simply being charged by that solar panel alone. So if we were to go ahead and pop in here and turn this single small reactor on, you can see at the bottom right here, its max output is 5, it's outputting 3.88, it's not outputting 4 because it's putting out a little bit more, and this is now taking in 4 megawatts. And you see it'll be charged the rest of the way in 6 minutes, and usually it takes 15 minutes to fully charge one of these. Now, if we were to go ahead and turn another one of these on, you can see that fully charged in 11 minutes on this one. If you were to run back over to this one here, you can see it fully charged in 10 minutes. It's gone up simply because the power is now being split between the two of these. And once again, if we were to turn on a third one, the amount of time it would take to charge them all would go up even farther. So it went to 8 because this was originally outputting, but now it's taking in energy, so now it's going to be 17 minutes. Now, of course, we can turn on another one of these, and that'll solve our problem almost instantaneously. No matter how much power, though, you have, remember, they won't be able to charge faster than the maximum input allowed is, which is 4 megawatts. So you could have a billion reactors, it's still going to take 15 minutes to charge one of these from empty, which is pretty cool. Another thing they added today, I'm going to get back to batteries in a minute and talk about the ease of connection, or easy way to swap them out, but another thing they added today is the ability to copy and paste things and have them connect automatically. So the way I've been building for a long time has been modular. So usually I'd take this, I'd line it up however I like, and I'd paste it, and then I'd put 2 blocks over it to sort of make the connection. Now, second I paste it, you might have noticed a little jump there with everything. It's actually connected. So suddenly it is super easy to align all this. And really, if I was to say, hey, I like these solar panels the way they are, but I want to maybe rotate them around. Maybe I don't want all these set up quite like this. Maybe I want them changed a bit, and I don't want to use that rotor system there right away. Well, what I could do is let's paste another one down, put in a small cockpit here, and just stick it on the side right there. Hop into that, convert this to a ship. You might say, well, what good was that, Sage? Now you can't connect it to the station because it's a ship, and you can't connect ships, right? Wrong. Now you can actually go ahead, and if I aim at this, you can see it connects, and it actually connects from whatever block you're pointing at. So I was pointing up there. When you copy it, I'm going to point down there at that single base block. And now you can see, even though this is a ship, I can freely move it. The second I aim at a station, you can see it sort of locks the outer side of it, and I can line it up however I want and paste it in there. And of course, if I said, hey, I want one at the end here, I could get right up to it. And when I rotate it while it's locked onto something, it moves in 90-degree bits. Now, of course, I can't paste this because it's having a collision with the area up there. But if I was to go ahead and fly over here and say, hey, I'd like to paste this to the back side of this, it can actually work pretty well. So there we go. That one's pasted in. And of course, it's facing the wrong way, but I could just I could just use the controls there to spin that around now. Pretty dang cool. And that also means you're going to be able to build an awful lot more and change a lot of stuff, and you can do really silly things like this, where now I've actually copied this. I can shift it over, I can rotate it, and let's just say I want to put it, let's just say you want to put it up here, shall we? So let's find a connection point where it actually connects. It's going to have a little bit of trouble actually, so let's lay it flat. I'm sure we can find a connection point like this. No, of course not. It's probably trying to copy. No, it's not. Well, that's because I don't have any proper flat points that'll connect with that. I'd have to probably paste it down here, and even that's not working because of the rotors in the way. So you gotta be careful why some things don't work. Think about it. Sometimes you get bits sticking out farther than they should, like those rotors which are pointing down, which means they collide with this other one here when I try to paste it. But of course you can copy all sorts of interesting things and stick them together. So if I was to copy this again, and I'm going to cut off the bits that were giving us trouble, this is let's just go ahead and delete this, shall we, instead of going through block by block. That's a bit silly. By the way, that is Control X if you don't know. And so there we go, little copy. Sorry about a mini cut there. And you can see it lines up, and these are ships, but now of course you can build modularly with ships, and wherever you aim, they sort of, as long as it's hitting it, it actually has that sort of lock-on thing. So you can build all sorts of very, very strange things very, very quickly, which is actually quite impressive. I really, really like that. And that is the strangest satellite that has ever been. And of course, you can still copy and paste and toss stuff into the universe if you see so fit. So we could toss that out there, and yeah, we've introduced the weirdest pointless satellite ever. Anyway, let's move back down to our platform down here. And another thing you can do with batteries is they exist on small ships and also large ships. But this means that if I actually connect these up, so these are all charging, you could have a charging station. So let's go ahead and hook up a few merge blocks. So we're going to have a merge block here and here. And then we're also going to need, I put that on wrong, sorry. Let me just set this up. How about that, hey? Alright, so here we go. I have the basics of a hot swap system set up here, and you can have a connector at either end of the battery, or you can have a connector and merge blocks, or if you're dealing with all large ships, all merge blocks. But this basic idea right here will work definitely for even if you have a small ship wanting to power its batteries up. So here we go, you can see the connectors at the far right are in range. I've pressed P to lock those, and now I'm going to press Y. And what Y did was actually switched those 3 battery cells there from putting out energy to taking it in. Now, of course, I could go into our UI, find the merge block holding us together, and turn that off. And now this ship is separate. Now the problem is now it doesn't have any power. That's why I have that one permanent battery there. You can see it's turned red right now. That's actually turned off to ensure it won't ever output energy or turn it on. There we go. I've turned it on now, and I've set it to output energy, so now the ship can function again. And now what we can do is go ahead and grab another battery pack that would presumably have charged up while we were waiting there. Very, very cool. We lined that up. Of course, I need to turn the merge block back on. There we go, turned it on very quickly. We'll probably get zapped into position, I suspect. It seems to be being fickle. Let's just get away from it and toggle it off and back on again. You see there the whole ship is listing because it's trying to connect even though they weren't. Because I turned it on when it was right there. I suspect it had some sort of glitch. Let's go ahead, turn that merge block back on now. Basically doing an off and on reset of it. We get close again. And any second now, I suspect these two should lock together. There we go, they've locked together. And they're connected. That wasn't a cut there, by the way. The view actually just auto-syncs to the center. And now, of course, what I can do is press P and disconnect that huge line there. Press Y and it'll toggle all those reactors. Ooh, hey, press P and disconnect. There we go. Get going. Let's get away. Oh, right, we need to convert ourselves to back to a ship because we were connected to a station, so convert the ship, and now we can fly away. And of course now we can go ahead and that battery backup we were using to switch between them, we can now set it to recharge. And now it'll of course pull power from those new batteries we got, and when we are ready we can switch it out again, which is pretty dang cool. So there you go, that's the basics of hot swap batteries. You can do the same exact thing with small ship batteries, which small ship batteries, I'll fly over here to show you what they at least look like, are pretty dang nifty themselves. They are a 2x3x3 setup. They're pretty hefty, pretty big, but I like them in actually an awful lot. And you can see here I have a huge setup here, and this ship is actually a bit finicky because all these batteries, they actually look like they're shut off, don't they, because their lights aren't showing up, but they are indeed, if we were to go ahead and look at them, all set to recharge. It's just they've taken in so little power, they haven't actually had any lights come on. I believe that's what it is. And of course you can see our power usage right now, even sitting still, is far in the red. That's because of course it's trying to draw far more power from these solar panels to charge those batteries than it could. And you can see when I move though, we actually move at a pretty decent amount. We get an overload, which I believe means if you were in survival you might have system shut down, but it actually moves pretty well. What we can do to counteract some of this though is we take these batteries and we set them from recharge to output power. Now you can see we're not having any issues, and now you can see when we move, we really move quick because there's not much power in those batteries, but there's enough to get these engines running at full power, which is pretty cool. Now let's of course say you didn't want to have a bunch of terrible solar panels sticking on your ship. You can of course cut these off and delete them because we don't need all those, and let's get rid of those down there because of course they are simply the original mirrored versions. There we go. And now you have this nice little buggy. Of course you can charge that exactly like we did that, and this isn't a hot swap battery, of course this is just a simple ship with its battery pack built into it, so you could have multiple small ships and you just take a different ship while one is recharging. So let's line those up. We're gonna have to move, I think, a bit to our right, and oops, there we go, lined up. Press P to lock it in place, to simply select our batteries again and tell them to recharge, and now they will be recharging with all the blissful power from those 1,000,001 different solar panels out there. It's pretty dang awesome. I'm overall very happy with it. I think a lot of people are going to want some more automated things where if there's power coming from another source, maybe they'd automatically know to recharge, but oh yeah, there we go. You can see that's far faster than those dinky solar panels we had on it. But overall, I don't think it needs to be changed. I'm actually quite happy with having to manually go ahead and switch those over and stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with them. I'm loving this. Alrighty, one last thing I just about forgot to mention is they've redone, or at least altered, how these radio antennas work a bit. So we go in here, we look at the antenna, and now the radius is once again slidable. I believe it was like that before, but when you do that you can actually see it change the power amount usage at the bottom right there, so you can see how much power it's using up, which is pretty dang cool. Of course you set it up to infinite and it's going to use up the amount of power that one small reactor makes pretty much. So let's go ahead, set it to about 100, and there we go. So if I get 100 meters away from it, you should actually stop seeing it because it's broadcasting to 100 meters out. So there we go, we got about to 100 and it vanished. Now the thing is, as a person, your name is actually broadcasts about 200 meters out. So if anybody's buzzing within 200 meters and they have systems set up to detect, or they have an antenna, they'll be able to see you. Now down below me, you can see that there are a bunch of these little tiny stations, exactly like this station here, just floating down there. And they're all set to be at 100 distance. So why can I see all of them now? Well, that's simply because they now link together. So if this one can see this one and that one can see this one, you're going to see all the way down the chain. You get it? Now the thing is, you could have this one set so it can be seen from even farther. So let's go ahead and tweak this one so it can be seen by things that are 200 meters away. So let's go in here, go to this, let's set it to 200, so right about there, there we go. And now let's tweak this one, that way it can only be seen by things that are only 50 meters away. Or actually no, we can leave it at 100 even, so let's go ahead and delete this one now. And there's this one, 200 meters, we should still be able to see it, so let's back off until it says 200 meters. And there we go, we've gone, oh, there we go, so it's vanished. So let's fly a little bit closer and put this one down right here. So now we can fly even farther away because this one has this range of 100. Now the thing is though, if we fly over there to that one, we won't be able to see this one because it's only broadcasting to 100 meters away, which is very, very interesting. But of course, when we were by that, we could see all these. So you can have sort of like hidden stations where if you're there, you can still see everything else, but other things can't see you. So it's pretty dang cool. I'm quite happy with it, and I suspect we'll also be able to eventually be able to transfer information through these maybe, and it'll allow us to have information corridors, so you're not just broadcasting location of some very specific thing to one little point. And eventually you might even be able to turn off the actual antenna location thing, but still just be able to show other things. Actually, can we might be able to do that now. No. So I suspect in the future there'll be a show on HUD option for the antenna itself, so you'll be able to turn that off. And by the way, if we had any items over there with an antenna that had it set to show on HUD, you'd actually be able to see those even from here, which is pretty dang cool because they're all talking to each other. Anyway, that is actually it. That is really it, guys. Thanks a bunch for watching. I hope you enjoy this update. I'm going to be fiddling around with a lot. It's going to change a lot of things, and it's pretty damn cool. And solar farms, I suspect we'll be seeing even more of them now that we can have batteries hooked up, recharged, and swapped out and all that. Anyway, thanks a bunch for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.